الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الحمد لله الذي لا مضاد له في ملكه ولا منازع له في أمره الحمد لله الذي لا شريك له في خلقه ولا شبيه له في عظمته وصلى الله على سيدنا ونبينا محمد صلى الله عليه وآله الطاهرين المنتجبين الميامين الأئمة المهديين وأصحابه المنتجبين عباد الله أوصيكم وأوصي نفسي الخاطئة بتقوى الله واتباع أمره ونهيه أوصيكم بما أوصى به الله سبحانه وتعالى عباده المؤمنين حيث قال تلك الدار الآخرة نجعلها للذين لا يريدون علوا في الأرض ولا فسادا. I remind you, my dear brothers and sisters, after I have reminded myself of the provision of taqwa. As the Almighty has said in the Holy Quran, other than the verse that I just recited, He has said, تَزَوَّدُوا فَإِنَّ خَيْرَ الزَّادِ التَّقْوَى. Prepare your provisions, and the best of provisions for this journey towards God is the provision of taqwa. Taqwa Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. As Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad, has defined taqwa in four things. We all know that taqwa basically means protecting oneself from committing of haram, protecting oneself in the fulfilling of wajibat. He has said that at-taqwa al-khawfu min al-jalil, for one to fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Al-amalu bil-tanzil, for one to act upon the Holy Quran. Al-ridha bil-qalil, for one to be content and satisfied with what it is that God has given one. And number four is wal-isti'dadu liyawmir rahil, and for us to prepare ourselves for the day of departure. Very quickly, inshallah, knowing that it is a work day and knowing that we have limited time, I wanted to share a few points that I believe are very important for us on such a holy, sacred day. There's a beautiful hadith from Imam Muhammad al-Baqir alayhi salam, where he says, Al-mu'minu aslabu min al-jabal. A believer is stronger than a mountain. Al-mu'minu aslabu min al-jabal. Al-jabalu yastaqillu minh. With a mountain, things fall off of the mountain. A mountain can be removed. Wal-mu'min la yastaqillu min dinihi shay'. Whereas with a mu'min, nothing from his or her religion is removed. A mu'min becomes stronger and stronger, builds up more and more, and never forsakes their religion, their practice, and their faith. Friday day, as we all know, is a day of reflection. It is a day of ibadah. It is also considered to be the day of Sahib al-Asri wa Zaman, al-Hujjat ibn al-Hasan, al-Imam al-Mahdi. Alhamdulillah, one of the very enlightening things that I experienced here last night was the writing of the Aridha as an offering, requesting our beloved Imam to intervene into whatever situation we might be at. We know very well, wholeheartedly, that with our A'imma alayhim wassalam, especially with our living Imam, there is that connection where we are able to engage with them in such a way where we feel their presence. If there is a case where one doesn't feel that presence of the Imam within the atmosphere of their lifestyle, that means that you haven't strengthened or you haven't even built a relation with your living Imam. On the Friday schedule that we should be having is the ziyarah of Imam al-Mahdi ajjalallahu ta'ala farajuhu al-sharif, where it says, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad, وهو يوم الجمعة وهو يوم الجمعة هذا يوم الجمعة, this is a Friday. وهو يومك المتوقع فيه ظهورك والفرج فيه للمؤمنين على يديك. And this is the anticipated day in which you will reappear. And the believers will become relieved through your hands. وَقَتْلُ الْكَافِرِينَ بِسَيْفِكَ, and the disbelievers will be killed by your sword. وَأَنَا يَا مَوْلَاي فِيهِ ضَيْفُكَ, and me, O Master, on this Friday I am your guest. وَجَارُكَ, and your neighbor. وَأَنْتَ يَا مَوْلَاي, and you, O Master, Kareem, you are generous. مِنْ أَوْلَادِ الْكِرَامِ, from children of generous people. مَأْمُورٌ بِالضِّيَافَةِ, Imam al-Mahdi, you have been given the command, you are commanded, you are ordered to be generous and kind. Wal ijara, and to be close. Ijara here doesn't mean neighbor, it means close. فَأَضِفْنِي, make me your guest. وَأَجِرْنِي صَلَوَاتُ اللَّهِ عَلَيْكَ وَعَلَى أَهْلِ بَيْتِكَ الطَّاهِرِينَ. Question is, why Friday? We know that on Friday we start our day off with dua al-nudbah. We also have ziyarah of Sahib al-Asri wal-Zaman. We end our day with dua as-samat. If you have not heard of dua as-samat, I strongly encourage you to pick up on this important ritual of reciting dua as-samat, starting your day with dua al-nudbah if you are able to, Friday I mean, and ending your day with dua as-samat, a beautiful dua where you are expressing your disappointment that Friday has come and gone and the Imam has not yet appeared. Why Friday? Why is it that Friday is the day specified for Imam al-Hujjah ajjalallahu ta'ala farajuhu al-sharif? Of course, we know that Friday is a resting day. Friday is a day of ibadah. Friday is a day of personal cleaning and hygiene and things like that. We know that there are many mustahabbat that start from Thursday and enter on into Friday. Because, as one hadith says, Friday is Sayyidul Ayyam. Friday is the master of days. Number one, Friday is Al-Eidul Azghar. It is a mini Eid, because we have different a'yad. We have Eid al-Fitr, Eid al-Adha, Eid al-Ghadir, and the fourth Eid, or one of these four Eids, is Friday day, which is a day of Eid, which is why rewards are multiplied on this day. And also, of course, punishment is also multiplied on this day should one be disobedient to God. Number two, Imam al-Hujjah, Imam al-Mahdi ajjalallahu ta'ala farajuhu al-sharif, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad, was also born on a Friday as well. Number 3, according to the stronger view of our ulama, Imam al-Hujjah, as we just read in that dua, Imam al-Hujjah, Imam al-Mahdi will be reappearing on a Friday. Yes, there is another view, and that view is that Imam al-Mahdi Ajjalallah Ta'ala Farajuhu Sharif will be reappearing on the day of the martyrdom of his grandfather Imam Hussein alayhi salam. And his slogan will be Ya Litharat al-Hussein. And this is why this is the second view that it could be, because there's also a difference of opinion as to when the event of Ashura occurred. Was it on a Saturday? Was it on a Monday? Was it on a Tuesday? Or was it on a Wednesday? The predominant view is that it occurred on a Wednesday, especially putting in mind some of the statements delivered by Aqilatu Bani Hashim Sayyida Zainab alayha salam. But the stronger view is that it is going to be on a Friday. The Imam's reappearance will be on a Friday. This, of course, shows the significance, the sanctity, the importance of such a day, where not only do you participate in Salatul Juma. One hadith says that Al-Jum'ah, Salatul Jum'ah is Hajjul Fuqara. It is the next alternative. It is the next alternative for one participating in Hajj pilgrimage. One hadith says, and I can continue going on and on about the merits and virtue and fadl of a Friday. One hadith says that if one was to consecutively, intentionally avoid participating in Salatul Jumu'ah, they would be classified as a munafiq, as a hypocrite. A sign of a hypocrite is not participating in Salatul Jumu'ah. The point here in why I am mentioning this, I'm sure all of my brothers and sisters are well aware of the significance of that strengthening of our relationship with our Imam, but to always remember that Friday still needs to be a day where we engage with our religious, spiritual rituals. Where as busy as you may be, as occupied as you may be, you might not be able to have time off of work or school or university or whatnot. But we have to keep this culture alive of making sure that Jumu'ah is a day of ibadah and a day in this context of connecting and reconnecting with our living Imam. May Allah hasten his appearance. Of course, we can't not mention that you should be at least engaging with your Imam once a week, at least once a week. If you're able to do more than that, then of course we should be doing more than that on a daily basis, on an hourly basis. A few quick points on how we are able to strengthen our relationship with our Imam. Number 1, Ziyaratul Imam al-Hujjah Ajjalallah Ta'ala Farajuhu Sharif. Whether it be the famous dua, Allahumma kulli waliyik, whether it be this part of the ziyarah that I mentioned, whether it be whenever I recite the salawat, I also say at the end, wa'ajjil farajahum. That also could be classified and considered as a ziyarah and as a dua for Imam al-Hujjah. Another point is, how much time and effort have you made in inquiring and learning and researching and educating yourself about Imam al-Mahdi Ajjalallah Ta'ala Faraj? How much time? Do you know about your living Imam more than you know about what's happening in Hollywood or Bollywood or Netflix, or how many goals did this player shoot, and what's happening with Imran Khan, and where is this happening and what is that happening. If we want to be honest to ourselves, we don't spend enough time learning about our Imam. And I've done this a few times where I've asked how many have read more than one book about our Imam. And that's, of course, very disappointing, especially for the younger generation. Another point is to continue in doing tawassul to our Imam. If you have a need, if you have a haja, if you have an illness, if you have a concern, if you are upset about something, if you are angry about something, if you need some kind of support and you're a little bit down for whatever reason, relieve yourself, your hearts, by expressing your feelings to your Imam. It's never going to work out bad for you if you are somehow not going to be speaking and connecting with the Imam. Final point is, I haven't been allocated the time, so I'll just finish off. Final point is, if you really are a true follower of the Imam, if you really are a soldier of the Imam, if you truly love the Imam, why is your conduct and your behavior not reflecting that which the Imam represents? Why are you doing things that are contrary to what the Imam would want you to do? Why are you bringing shame to your Imam by presenting yourself in such a very, very wrong, different way? We have a responsibility of course, keeping up to the standards of our Imam. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ونبينا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد وعلى آل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين الأطهرين، سيما بقية الله في الأراضين. وصل على علي أمير المؤمنين وفاطمة الزهراء الصديقة الكبرى سيدة نساء العالمين. وصل على صبطي نبي الرحمة وإمامي الهدى الحسن والحسين سيدي شباب أهل الجنة. وصل على أئمة المسلمين علي بن الحسين ومحمد بن علي وجعفر بن محمد وموسى بن جعفر وعلي بن موسى ومحمد بن علي وعلي بن محمد والحسن بن علي والخلف القائم المهدي، حججك على عبادك وأمنائك في بلادك صلاة كثيرة دائمة. اللهم اغفر للمسلمين والمسلمات والمؤمنين والمؤمنات الأحياء منهم والأموات، وتابع اللهم بيننا وبينهم بالخيرات، إنك مجيب الدعوات، إنك قاضي الحاجات، إنك على كل شيء قدير. I, of course, have always been blessed with the wonderful opportunity of coming here to this holy place. And I have memories that date back to probably 20, 25 years. And of course, one of the things that I can always mention and say is that the very existence of organizations and centers in such far away places contributes to the continuous existence of Madhab Ahlul Bayt alayhim as-salam in these distant lands. It also contributes to the forming of a strong identity in our children and our grandchildren. We know for a fact that as parents, it is an hourly struggle thinking whether or not our children are going to grow up still being affiliated to Islam and Ahlul Bayt. We are worried and concerned if we can keep our children on the right path. We have this in our mind all the time. And one of the things that, of course, would bring about ease in our hearts and our minds is for us to create a stronger infrastructure for ourselves and our community. No one asked me to speak about this. The management has not spoken to me about this. But last night when I came in and I saw these posters, I thought that it would most definitely be our wajib duty to somehow contribute in promoting this cause. Put your hand up if you think that this management is 100% perfect. Put your hand up if you think that there is any management anywhere in the world that is 100% perfect. Put your hand up if you can say that my family, immediate or extended family, is 100% perfect and we have absolutely no problems or dramas. You all know that in the case of Amir al-Mu'mineen, Imam Ali alayhi salam, his khilafah was only for 5 years and a little bit. 80% of his energy, unfortunately, I'm just estimating 80%, but a lot of that time that Imam Ali alayhi salam spent was in battle. Against the mushrikeen? No. Against the kuffar? No. Against the Jews and the Christians? No. Against the Muslims. Because people genuinely believed that Imam Ali, who we believe is al-insan al-kamil, had a very bad, wrong government. And this is why we can say that no one is free of faults except for our ma'sumeen alayhim salam. And even with our ma'sumeen, they still have had problems with other people around them. But to have something that is 5% or 10% or 20% is better than having something that is 0%. I drive past this very large, I think, Bosnian mosque, and mashallah, they have probably 0 complaints as far as neighbors are concerned. They probably have 0 issues with the council and everything else. And they're able to do multiple things all at once. And I have been to fundraising dinners from our fellow brothers, non-Shia brothers, and they have no issue in raising tens of millions of dollars. And we still struggle, and I'm telling you this as a fact. I don't know if am I being broadcasted. And I'm telling you this as a fact, unfortunately, that many of our centers struggle with mortgage repayments. That's shameful, I think, in my opinion. I'm sorry to say. I could be intruding. It could, of course, be none of my business. But as a fellow mu'min, inshallah, as a fellow Muslim, as one whose duty is to remind myself and remind others of when we are in our graves, we need to have something there for our children. I encourage all of my brothers and sisters to contribute generously and participate in this worthy cause. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. I posed this question last night and I said I was going to speak about it today in the khutbah in regards to the Palestinian conflict. And the question is the Palestinian conflict, is this issue a political issue? The reason why I give it this particular question and title is because some of our fellow Muslims are scared of the word politics. Some of our fellow Muslims thinks that politics means becoming an evil kind of entity, participating in the rulers of oppression. Some people think that politics is all about labor and liberal. Some people have a wrong understanding of what politics means within the framework of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam. But we know, even if we were to avoid using that particular technical term, that politics is a part, an integrated part of our religion. And for the case of Palestine, and of course, no need for a person to be worried or scared or concerned that they're going to be persecuted or they're going to have this or their visa cancelled or whatnot, or all these other things that we can see happening around the world, especially when it comes to someone who probably doesn't have an interest in the topic, but someone encouraging others to avoid it altogether. And this is, of course, very, very disappointing. And this is what we can see in Arab countries. I know for a fact that in the Pakistani passport, it says that this passport is valid for all countries except Israel. That's an honorable thing. That's a courageous thing, of course. Whereas now you have official Israeli people acting and working and living and promoting Zionism in places like Al-Imarat and others. That is, again, extremely, extremely shameful. I would say that it is a political issue and we should not shy away from that, because our understanding of politics is not what is probably in the mind of some people. I would also say that it is a humanitarian issue more than it is a political issue. I would say it is a moral obligation more than it is anything else. I would say we have a duty, as for the brothers and sisters who were here last night, and the hadith I mentioned from Imam Hussein alayhi salam, it is something that most definitely needs to be dealt with. And with the Palestinian cause, it's something that is affecting the whole world. Just imagine how the world would be without conflict. And this is the longest conflict that has existed in our contemporary world, going over 75 years. And look at all the effort that is being put by these superpower countries against the Palestinians and in favor of Israel. Right here, right now, we can see that they are trying to ban the Palestinian flag because it incites hatred, but yet in Muslim-dominated suburbs, they are putting up posters of so-called Israeli hostages and things like that. A lot can be said about this topic, but I don't want to get off track. My point here is that we should not shy away from the Palestinian cause under the guise that it is political and we want to sit back at home and do our rituals. We don't want to get involved in political issues. No, that's not the approach of Islam. Islam was never Islam was never an indoor religion. Islam was always out there in public, always proactively engaging with others, but being wise and doing it following a proper curriculum, a proper wise methodology, not being a reactionist, not, of course, ruining that cause that you are working for, not acting with emotions as well. So, of course, there needs to be guidelines that one does properly follow. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the opportunity of continuing to be the voice of the unheard. That itself is a tawfiq for you to be able to stand there against the zalim and help the mazlum. You can be inspired by any incident, by any story, but you live with that principle of never ever giving up to the oppressor. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إنا أعطيناك الكوثر فصل لربك وانحر إن شانئك هو الأبتر. صدق الله العلي العظيم. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.